Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings. Today we have David Reinicke of Automotive Warranty Network. And Ted, David's going to share a topic that's on a lot of dealership and OEM minds.
Very, very timely, Sarah. You're exactly right. Our great friend David Reinicke, he's the president of Automotive Warranty Network, is with us today. David, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Sarah. It's great to be back as always, and great to be talking with you again.
Great to see you here next week. I think we're going to have an opportunity to see you in person. The industry converges on Las Vegas, the NADA show. David, will AWN, Automotive Warranty Network, be there?
We will. We'll be there at booth 5223 West. We're bringing our whole executive team. It's always a great time. We've been doing NADA for over 25 years. It's always a great time to connect with our partners, dealerships that we work with, and other DMS providers, others in the industry. So we're super excited to see you, and I think a lot of great things are going to come out of it as always. So a lot of
Yep. And
energy.
a lot of energy. And let's see, the executive team. So that's Austin, that's Jason, that's Jake, yourself.
Yep.
I might be
Uh,
missing, might be
Jamie
missing
will
one.
be there. So Jake, Jason, Austin, Rob, auditing manager, myself, Jamie. So we're bringing the whole crew. It's always a great time for camaraderie, but also a great time. It sparks a lot of energy in the industry. So
It does. Sarah and I will see you there. We'll come back to that at the end.
okay.
A couple things, namely what Sarah mentioned in the opening. David, I want to ask you about audits. We're hearing a lot this year. Here we are already just in the first month at the end of January, and we're hearing a lot about audits that are taking place. They seem to be now fairly routine, done by the manufacturer. You're seeing this from a vantage point where you can see a lot of dealerships and perhaps see some trends. David, tell us what you see on the warranty side.
Yeah, so I appreciate that, and I hate to keep banging the table on audits because I know I talk about that a lot, but it's a huge thing right now in the warranty arena. Here we are at the end of January. We have 1,600 dealerships we work with, and we've already had 10 notifications for audits just in January so far. And 2025 was also a big year for audits. We had probably 80 to 90 stores get audited, and I see that being much bigger in 2026 already, since we have 10 that have already been notified this month. So it seems to be, previously it would be more of a selection event based on the dealership's performance, warranty performance, submission performance, that kind of thing, which still is the case, but it's also being more periodic now. So manufacturers, we're seeing some manufacturers come every year or every 2 years, and it's more scheduled, not so much based on performance. So, you know, I really want to help educate dealerships on, one, that this is coming and it's not preventable really. And two, what are the things we need to do today to button up our processes and make sure that when the audit does happen, that the result's favorable and it's not something that you're caught off guard with, or that you're blindsided with, or you experience that big 10% loss where you're being charged back, 80, $100,000 or even $30,000 is a lot of money. So we really want to help educate dealerships on, you know, what they need to do today to prepare for these audits. And, there's a lot of things, from our perspective that we can share with dealerships, not just dealerships that are our clients, but dealerships that are not yet our clients. I mean,
Okay.
certain manufacturer groups, we might have, 70 dealerships with that manufacturer group, or we might have 250 dealerships in the manufacturer group. So if we see that these audits are happening and what the manufacturers are hitting on, whether it's one-time use parts, add-on repairs, diagnostic being performed incorrectly, we can help educate dealerships that you need to look at this now, because this is what Ford or GM or BMW or whichever manufacturer are looking for, and help them button up those processes, because warranty money is what dealerships are entitled to, right? So we want to help them keep the money that they're entitled to and not give that money back. So
David, in this conversation, we have some dealers, I'm sure, that are listening today and thinking, okay, so I've lived through this recently a year ago, or maybe they feel like, okay, I think I'm in the clear, but are there other components that you're seeing? I mean, we've been hearing it across the industry as well that audits are picking up. There's a lot of regulation that has been scrutinized, pieces that they're paying, like you mentioned, that auditors are paying closer attention to. And we all know that if an auditor is showing up in the dealership, they're going to go away with something. Uh,
Yes, yes, they're gonna
so
pay for the
what?
trip at least, so.
So what in this kind of circumstance are you seeing other types of events other than the timing that are triggering some of these closer looks?
Yeah, certainly. So when a dealership goes through an audit, like you said, they think, okay, I went through it today. I'm in the clear. I've got, a year, 2 years, whatever the case may be. You still have to pay attention to the things that can trigger either another audit sooner or, cause further scrutiny when the next audit comes. So, a lot of manufacturers have like the trend reports that grade a dealership on, submission, first time pay rates, add-on repair frequency, cost per VIN frequency, that kind of thing. So, a lot. What we like to do is when a dealership goes through an audit, is we look at that report, and again, that report varies by manufacturer. So,
Sure.
but we have a department that's dedicated to looking at those things. It knows those things very well. So, we'll look at that trend report after the audit concludes, or now, or whenever, and we'll help a dealership understand what that is and say, okay, well, you're 14% higher in add-on repairs than other dealerships in your region. So, this is what we need to work on to get this number down, so that, when you do get audited, or maybe that prevents them from coming in and auditing or doing a specialty audit or something like that. So, I definitely would encourage every dealership to look at those warranty reports, now, and see where you're at. And again, if you need help understanding it, whether you're a client or not, you can contact us, and we're happy to help out and look at those trend reports and say, hey, we can help you understand this. It doesn't really take a lot of time for us to, at a high level, dig into that and say, well, your red flags are this, that, or the other. And so yeah, we can. There are things that you can do to look at it and help prevent an audit, or help prevent loss in an audit, right? So,
You're going to be at NADA. You've got a great team. Mentioned some of the names earlier. Your team is extremely proficient when it comes to this part of the industry, warranty. David, that's your swim lane. You specialize in that, and it's getting bigger. Warranty is continuing to increase with the complexity of these vehicles. We're seeing more and more focus, and the numbers are bigger now. The average ticket, I mean, these are. This is a huge part of revenue for the dealership, and it's in fixed ops, and you take a lot of that burden of the dealer having to, file the timely submission. You take that off them, okay? And you assume a lot of that with their help. Tell us a little bit about that process, because it's unique. You do it on a big scale. You're the largest that I'm aware of, okay, in the country. Tell us a little bit more about that.
yes. So what our company does, obviously, I know we've talked about it before, is we take the process of warranty submission and do it on an outsourced basis. And, we have professionals that are very versed in each manufacturer. So they're not over diversified. Our BMW people know BMW, our Toyota people know Toyota. They keep up with the policies and procedures, the processes, what's going on with that particular brand right now. And it is huge. I mean, it's like you said, the numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, I did a report for end of the year to see, what some of our biggest claims were through the year.
Okay.
And I mean, we had single claims, a lot of single claims. I mean, in the several hundreds, that were over $100,000 for just one single repair. So you're talking about your EVs, your engines on the luxury brands. So I mean, you really want to pay attention when you have one repair that's $120,000, or it's 90,000 or 80,000. I mean, there's so many things that need to be done correctly to make sure that a
Yeah.
dealership keeps that money that they're entitled to again. And, simple things is, the technician being punched on the repair while they're doing their diagnostic time. I mean, if that diagnostic time was ran before the technician was even punched on the job, that
Mm.
could that could result in the claim being debited, or at least that diagnostic time being debited. So, And that's just one small example of, everything that needs to be done in the process to make sure that 80, 90, $100,000 repairs, buttoned up. And it's not just the big repairs. I mean, obviously those are really important, and you don't want to lose out on, an $80,000 repair. But I mean, even all your smaller repairs, everything needs to be documented, and all the I's dotted, T's crossed to make sure it's done. And I think the old school mentality of you can just hire a data input person to process warranty. I think that stigma is gone now for the most part. I think dealerships really realize that this is a very skilled position, that it needs to be done correctly. The codes need to be applied correctly. you know all that goes into the data that the manufacturer is collecting to make sure everything's done right. And that's how they grade the dealership. That's how that can lead to other performance matters for the dealership as well. So if they're able to self-authorize certain things, or
Hmm.
certain leniency that the manufacturer gives to the dealership, is all based on, in part, on warranty performance. So
David, it's so interesting because again, what you just described there. I mean, we all have in our dealerships, the mentality sometimes that it's like, well, this I'm going to trust my technicians. I'm going to trust my warranty clerk to process this. I got too many ROs. I got too many things going on. I just have to, this is something that has to get handled. But then inevitably, David, we experience month end, and everything has to get closed out, and people this time of year may fall ill, and your team, again, you have this highly
Yes.
specialized
Yes.
team that's available, so the dealership doesn't miss a beat in all of these components. I definitely want another question, related to that I think is really, really fascinating. Internally with this kind of level of training that you're providing with these specialized teams that, again, are OEM specific. They understand your brand. They understand what the manufacturers are looking for, what pieces are going to be important to pay attention to. Are you seeing, with all of this technology and capabilities and software updates and things that are coming in vehicles today, and what technicians and jobs are looking like, are you seeing more scrutiny on certain types of work that OEMs are thinking about?
Hmm.
Or is it just, again, kind of a broad brush? They're looking for a little bit of everything.
it depends on the manufacturer, but definitely there's more scrutiny on those larger repairs. I mean, recalls, maintenance claims, that kind of stuff normally goes through the manufacturer's, edits or whatever, pretty seamlessly. So there's not a lot of scrutiny on those types of claims, although it's still important to make sure those are done right, because they're safety, recalls, and making sure
Yeah.
the vehicle is repaired properly. But there's definitely a lot of scrutiny that goes into those larger repairs that,
Big ones.
have a lot of hours, a lot of parts that were replaced. And, you can submit those types of repairs to the manufacturer, and they're not just going to fly right through, right? They're going to sit on it. They're going to, look at it, and if they may send it back to us and say, well, why was this done, or why was this part put on, or why did you put this labor operation on? And then we have to go back and forth with the manufacturer, which we take that responsibility on. So we don't put that back on the dealership to say, well, hey, this is pending, or this got returned. And we might ask the dealership for clarification, is hey, the manufacturer's asking why you did this to this repair. But certainly, those more extensive repairs that required a lot more troubleshooting or diagnostic, there's a lot more scrutiny, typically on those types of claims. And again, we take that on to, speak with the manufacturer, speak with the dealership, and make sure that those get resolved and those get handled. But even those large repairs and repairs get scrutinized like that. It's all timely, right? So it's not something that we want to drag on for and sit on the schedule for 30, 60 days. I mean, we're very diligent
Yeah.
about making sure that we
Yeah.
follow up on a daily basis to make sure those claims get paid, make sure we're working with the manufacturer, make sure they get resolved. So
You're right. It's the big claims, especially. Okay. I was surprised with some of the numbers you just gave us, that you could actually have a six-figure submission. And you also mentioned that they could deny part of it. They could say, well, we don't like the way the diagnostic, like you said, the times don't match. They could challenge some of that. But you're right. It's those big ones that are going to stand out. That's probably the low hanging fruit. And I would imagine if the dealer is not compliant on one of those, they're going to look further if
Oh
some
yeah,
more behind that. And that could quickly add up, David,
yeah.
for a dealer watching. Going back to something Sarah mentioned earlier, the trends you're seeing, we do realize you handle a large number of the similar OEMs, okay, whether it's, you know, 5, 10, 15, 50, or more. You're able to see things, um, and you're able to also work and help your dealers. What about dealers who are watching today who, still have the in-house warranty administrator, but maybe want to tap into some of that knowledge because maybe they're thinking down the road, my warranty administrator is going to be retiring in 6 months to a year. Can I reach out to David and maybe tap into some of the knowledge he's got on this particular OEM?
Sure, absolutely, and like I said on many of our meets, Ted I'm not sales pitchy at all. So we just want to truly help dealerships. But what we're really trying to develop right now is doing some roundtable discussions with dealerships. So again, like you mentioned, I mean, with a particular brand, we might have 70 of this particular brand. We might have 250 of this particular brand. So we're setting up. If we see, let's just say. We get 20 audits with Ford, let's say, or any brand. We
Anybody,
want
yeah.
to take that knowledge of what we learned from the audit because part of what we do for our clients is if they go through an audit, we don't just wash our hands of it and say good luck, let us know how it went. We want to be involved in that audit. We want to talk to the auditor. We want to speak for the work that we've done. But then we also take that information internally and say, okay, well, we see that Ford is really hitting, I say Ford, but any manufacturer is really hitting on this particular issue. So
Very,
let's get
very
with all of our dealerships and let them know what the manufacturer's hitting on or what they're looking for in particular right now, and share that knowledge with our 200 other stores that we have in that brand.
wow.
So what we really want to get to this year is sharing that not just with our AWN clients or
Okay.
dealerships that are current clients, but other dealerships that might be interested. Like you said, maybe they have an in-house admin, but I'd really like to hear what AWN has to say about this. So we're going to be
Yes.
inviting dealerships in that are not our clients into these
Wow.
roundtable discussions and help
Wow.
share, what we're seeing in that brand. So, if it's, hey, you really need to pay attention to one-time use parts and making sure your technician's following the repair manual properly, right? And that is a big one with all manufacturers, by the way. But we want to invite other dealerships in to say, you should go look into this process, right now and see if your service department's handling this properly, right? So again, that's something that we're really going to be launching at NADA, and first quarter this year is
Okay.
inviting other dealerships into those groups. So, and again, it's not a sales pitchy way to say, hey, you should become our client. It's just we want to share this with you. Hopefully, you find value in it, and if down the road we can help you out, that's great. So.
You're a great, reliable resource for the industry. You mentioned NADA. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
As I said earlier, Sarah and I will be out there. We look forward to spending time with you and
Excited
the
to see you
team.
guys.
Yes, we're all gonna be in the West Hall, together.
Great. Nice.
AWN, everybody, if you're making your short list now, you wanna be sure to visit with Automotive Warranty Network, David Reinicke and his team. Look down below in the scroll, booth 5223W in the West Hall. I think he's got a lot of things that are, gonna make sure that, you visit, AWN this year. You're not gonna be able to miss AWN, okay? He's got some great placement. And Sarah and I will be interviewing David as well at the booth and in the West Hall. David, what can some of our audience expect when they come by AWN? What can they expect to see? I know many will have questions, but what have you got going this year that you can share with us today?
Yes. So the main thing is we great conversation. I mean, that's really what we want to see. We enjoy connecting with our dealerships, our partners that we're already working with. So if you're our client, come by and see us. We want to say hi. We want to shake your hand. If you have questions on audits, or
Mhm.
trend reports, manufacturer grading reports, come by and see us. Our auditing and training manager will be there. He'll be able to answer any questions. He lives and breathes this stuff. He's been with us for 20 years, so he loves to talk about audits and metrics and that kind of thing. So come by and see us and talk about that if you like. We are going to have obviously demos of our product, our service, our cars application. Always we have up on a couple screens so we can show you how we can help audit your claims in real time, and the types of data and analytics that we can provide in real time to show you what might be going on in your service department with your technicians, with your advisors, as we're processing claims on a daily basis. So we'll be able to have that. We'll have that there. And then, and we can talk more about this at NEDA, but we do have tech enablement in our company. So we'll be talking a little bit about the tech enablement. I'm not going to mention AI because those buzzwords I'm not, we're really not, doing a lot of that per se, but we do have a lot of tech enablement that we'll be displaying at our booth as well. So,
Sarah, exciting times for warranty, Sarah. How about that?
It is. And Ted, this is such an important conversation. It's always a pleasure to have David Reinicke and his team at Automotive Warranty Network with us.
David, on behalf of the Roundtable, thank you for all you do for the industry, elevating our knowledge and our awareness. And we'll see you in Vegas next week.
Yeah, I'll see you next week. Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Sarah. Good seeing you as always.
All right. Great to see you. David Reinicke, everybody, president at Automotive Warranty Network, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.